listening to the Arcade Radio Network. Time for another episode of Amiga Flashback, the show that takes you back to the 80s and 90s.
So I am back from a nearby city here in Sweden. And today we're going to talk about two things. The first thing is the retro feeling, and the second one is the retro spirit. It's about retro done right. It's about retro done today, but feeling retro. Yeah, and of course you're getting the best new music on this station. Another girlfriend. And before that it was Boone of Bad Karma with Flimbo's Quest, and I am not sure if that is related to the game. I checked it on YouTube and the music is similar, but it seems like that exact tune isn't there, so it may have been some kind of tribute. So, what about the retro feeling? Well, the retro feeling is something that tries to feel retro, but really isn't. And when it's bad, well, it looks like a cheap imitation. But when it's good, it's living up to everything that we learned. Or maybe it's kind of adhering to some kind of tradition that we expect from an old style game or movie or something. Then we have something that I call the retro spirit, and yeah, of course, I stole that from a certain site in Norway. But that's simply keeping the spirit of a long dead phenomena alive, which is what we do. But we will not be talking about the retro spirit. It's about the feeling right now. So on this podcast, get ready for some games and stuff that really lives up to everything we hoped they be. Hyper Unknown and Snowfall. Case in point, the first game of today's podcast that has that real retro feeling. Yep, that would be Thimbleweed Park. It's a classic point-and-click adventure. And I don't know if you heard about Ron Gilbert. He was the man behind Maniac Mansion and also Monkey Island 1 and 2. A lot of people feels he is kind of the Sid Meier of adventure gaming, at least the old school type of adventure gaming. And maybe he is. See, a lot of people feel that the Monkey Island franchise should have been given back to him. There was even a petition for it, but such thing has not happened yet, and probably will not. So in 2017 he released this Thimbleweed Park, which is a spiritual successor to the Maniac Mansion. It's a little town and you, a Fox Mulder copy if you will, and your friend and colleague, who is, well, Scully, I think it was Donna Scully. So it's basically the X-Files as an adventure game, and it has the same really funny humor that you expect from Monkey Island and Maniac Mansion and maybe Day of the Tentacle as well. So you start off trying to investigate strange stuff, because yes, that's what it is. And the only thing I can't stand with that game is that sheriff who says Reno to everything. It's good Reno, nice Reno and stuff. And but that's the only complaint. It is a logic puzzler and has a graphic that's very reminiscent of games of the time. It seems like, yeah, you know, the pixelated 8-bit or 16-bit graphic, what you want to call it. Bitmapped and beautiful, really. It is not a retro game because 2017 is modern time, but it feels very much like it's keeping in spirit with it, so to speak. It's a fantastic game. You can get it on Steam, and unfortunately there seems to be no plans for a follow-up. I hope there will be a Thimbleweed Park 2, because it's a fun game to play. Ajax Lemon ship never dies, and I certainly hope it will not. So the next game that has this retro feeling, well, I learned about it when I was researching Jack Jazz Rabbit. It seems like one of the animators for that true retro game was Dean Dodrill, who later made his own gaming studio and also released a game called Dust, an Elysian tale. And in that game, you are immediately greeted by a really retro experience. It's a classic side-scroller, feels a little bit like the games used to be in the, early to mid-90s. Your gaming console games, that is, and some Amiga games probably too. The story is simple. You wake up, have no concept of where you are and who you are. But you're told by a sword that pops into existence that, you summoned me. Where you feel like, what? Did I? And no warning. And another character pops in. A bat cat flying fairy, weird neurotic whatever called Fidget, and she tells you, sorry, my sword, but you are now holding the sword, so she kinda concedes that, maybe I shouldn't fight with a guy who hold the sword, so she tags along for the journey, hoping to get the sword back when you're done, okay? The story is all about exploring the towns, but it's not a role-playing game in itself so much as it is role-playing sequences stopped by fighting, and you fight a lot. It seemed to be a very fun game. I haven't played it. It's way too fast for my aging brain, but I've looked at YouTube, and the dialogue between the characters is marvelous, and the whole story progresses in little riddles. It's not a complex story, it's not a very well fleshed out story, but it is a nice one, and the graphics looks very kind of old-timey. The backgrounds that used to be a thing back then before the first-person shooters came, they are beautiful, really beautiful, and the characters are kinda wacky. So I would say that is a true retro feeling game. But you have to be really fast, or as Fidget says, mash the buttons. and that was KG Wannabe Prods. What a bad name. And the song is called Club Anthem 2001. So, we have retro feeling in a lot of places, sometimes really uncalled for. You know, those cheap plastic telephones and radios and whatnot that has some kind of plastic wood-like veneer and just a feeling of being cheap gimmicks. But they try to look retro or vintage or whatever. We have other things like tube warmth. I spoke about that a few weeks ago. You know, the idea that tubes gives a retro feeling in the sound. And that's better. But we also have a lot of computers and retro stuff popping up in movies. I haven't seen the TV series, but it's called Stranger Things. It seems to take part in the 80s, and it's retro enough for what little I've seen of it, and seems to pop in a number of Commodore 64s and stuff. Really funny. So not everything has to be game-based, but retro is kinda in, and that's because the large amount of us, we are in our 30s and 40s, so we remember when retro was just here and just now. Jeremy of Replicas, in the nick of time. Spoke to my mother a few months ago, and she said about this retro thing. It's a guy thing. It's a thing that only men do. That's what she said, actually. And I think, okay. But it seems to be some kind of logic with it, because if you just think about your average retro whatever, like vinyl records, cassette tapes, Amigas, Ataris, and whatever retro stuff you could be into, right? Like replica guns or something. Well, there are very few women there. And that is a thing. I also spoke with a colleague, and she said, like, yeah, she felt the same way. She wouldn't really understand what's in this retro thing at all. I don't know why this is, or if it is that way at all, but seems to be something to it. It's a bit sad, actually. I would like it very much more if more women were into stuff like this. The Amiga is kind of a female name, isn't it? It means a female friend, basically, so why not? Polar Chase, Flesh Brain of the Crusaders. It's some kind of Bond fight going on there. It feels like something that could accompany a Bond movie. And that's a retro too, isn't it? We kind of look back into a really big, knowledge base of cool stuff that has been. And we don't seem to be able to leave it. If you just think about it, what's up now with the movies? It's all about those superheroes that were all started somewhere in the golden age of animation and comics during 30s and 40s, and well, it continued through the silver era into today. And it makes me wonder a bit why we become this nostalgic. A friend of mine, he has a number of those Star Wars figures that he bought when he was a kid. His own kids are playing around with them now, and I think, why are we collecting this? I can't really say, but it is what it is, and it seems like the industry like this kind of retro thing because it's guaranteed to be a success. The whole Marvel Universe thing seems to be one string of a movie success after another one. We can't get enough of them. Think about it, it's over 20 movies done to this day. And they are all more or less guaranteed cash cows and total successes. Now, there is something to retro, isn't it? So it's Trigger again and Lumali's revenge. Oh dear Lumali, who hurt you? I don't know, but revenge is due, obviously. So when we're wrapping this thing up, isn't it kind of amazing to think about the fact that we always seem to be retro nerds, if you want to, 20 years back in time? Or maybe 30, somewhere around there. In the 50s, there was a very, very strong retro wave towards the 20s. The Roaring 20s were popular. I know this is kind of fun because Roaring 20s are popular again. Why not? I mean, we have a pandemic, we have an economy heading for a crash, and a lot of good music. So, I don't know. But still, it is pretty clear that this retro thing with Amigas, C64s and Ataris and Sinclair Spectrums and stuff, that is a wave we're surfing on. A few years from now, I don't think we will be caring too much about it. I hope we will, but I cannot guarantee it. And then maybe the next generation will look into our time and be really, really retro nostalgic about iPads, mobile phones, smartphones, and whatever TikTok is, because I have no idea, I'm too old for that. Oh, anyway, so I hope you like this one, and we really like to spread this retro feeling to whoever is listening. Grabby and Gravik of Waste, Lost Crossroads. So, we need to, part roads here. I will be going away, and I will be back next Saturday on this station and next episode on the podcast. This has been a lot of discussion about this retro feeling that we still can see somewhere where new stuff is created, and I'm thanking you for listening to the podcast, and I thank you for keeping this whole, retro thing alive, although, it is a dearly departed friend in a way. So, this is DJ Demon signing off for now and leaving you with some more music to lead you out into what we used to say, the good night.
10 000 tyska bögar.
All right, that's Swedish, by the way, and it comes from a radio program called Hassan. It was Fredrik Lindström and Christian Luck that made this program in the early 90s, so it's retro in itself. And the whole idea of the program was calling to people and really behaving in a very atrocious way. And this line, 10 000, that's actually translated to 10,000 German fags or something. It's actually Hassan calling to a European Union Information Center of sorts. This was when we were about to join the European Union, and simply telling that, hey, we can't join the European Union. There will be 10,000 German gays coming to visit or something like that. Pretty much playing around with homophobia. And, the person on the other end of the line had to behave professionally, making it hilariously funny. It was a really nice little radio program. My favorite is when they called the Swedish infantry unit here in Stockholm and said, hey, we want some kind of play around execution. The guy should know that it's not for real. So yeah, and they had to politely decline because the military here in Sweden doesn't do stuff like that. Anyway, thanks for listening and have a really nice week. We'll be back next Saturday, as I stated.